Hey, what's up, people? Welcome to Yoga with Dave. It's number 124. It's 2:30. It's a Thursday. So well done if you made it this far. If you got onto your mat live, then hats off to you. And if you're watching it on catch up, then hats off to you too. It's great to teach with the Virtual Village Hall, Royal Voluntary Service, who host us, and it's always nice to teach in different spaces. I'm at the Space to Breathe Collective here in Leicester today, where I do a lot of work, and I love it, and I love teaching in this space. It's a not-for-profit cooperative. Lots of amazing stuff happening here, yoga, and stuff upstairs, up here. Lots of stuff going on up there as well. So anyway. What was I going to say? I was going to talk about stress, and I talked a little bit about stress last week, and bringing in some pranayama to kind of combat stress. And pranayama is a Sanskrit word, and you find it in yogic philosophy and melded in and blended into physical yoga classes. And it sometimes is referred to as breath control. It's just breathing, right? Don't have to make this stuff too complicated, but the breath is really important in so many different ways. And you will have heard me say before, if you've watched a lot of my classes, that there's a breath for everything. There's a breath when we feel low of energy and we want to bring our energy up. There's a breath when we're kind of too high of energy and we want to bring the energy down. But most importantly, there's a breath for when we feel stressed. And stress is a bit of an epidemic, right? You know, stress is something that we all suffer from, we all experience, and it's a part of life. But I think stress is more so probably now. I don't know that because I didn't live in the past, did I? Well, I did in my life, in the 50 years that I've been alive. But, you know, I don't know what different types of stress, right? So you know, past generations would have suffered inordinate amounts of stress, wars and famines and all that sort of stuff. I'm not belittling it, by the way, when I say all that sort of stuff. But the unique pressures that we have in this day and age, and stress is a really big part of that. And the beautiful thing about yoga is, apart from it being a physical practice where people kind of come to yoga because they go, I'm not very flexible, or I'm not very strong, or my balance isn't very good. They're the sort of first things that we work on, and the asanas are the physical postures that we kind of do in physical yoga. But that's all a byproduct of what yoga really is. And what we really should be asking ourselves is, what people say, what is yoga, but what isn't yoga, you know, because there's a philosophy behind that, and there's a code and there's a way of life. And again, you don't have to be too strict on this stuff. I'm certainly not strict on it. But I do live my life to my moral code, but my moral code is going to be completely different to your moral code. And you might think that some of the stuff that I say and some of the stuff that I do is ridiculous. And you might go, I don't like it when he said that, or I would never do that. So that idea that all of our paths are different, and sometimes people refer to it as a spiritual path. But ultimately not to take things too seriously. And there's, you know, there's kind of pain within all of that. And there's joy. They're the two kind of ends of the spectrum, right? And we kind of try and weave ourselves in between that. But one thing that we do find from time to time, or a lot in our lives, depending on where we are and depending on the circumstances of our lives, is stress. So the breath is going to be key for that. And we've got some really beautiful breath practice that we're going to work through today that is hopefully going to get you out of your head and into your body. And that's ultimately, again, what yoga, the physical form of yoga, and what breath practice does. It kind of gets you out of this thinking, which can be useful for a lot of things. But you know what? A lot of the time it's not that useful, the brain, in terms of thinking. We overthink and we kind of make problems for ourselves. And we spend less time kind of here in our body. And before I practiced physical yoga, and before I, you know, did yoga in general, I wasn't very well connected and I probably thought too much. And I used my body in different ways, and you probably heard me talk about running and stuff like that. But I didn't get in here. I didn't get this kind of mind-body connection. And I'm learning all the time, right? And every time I get back onto my mat, I can just keep practicing that stuff, right? Of just getting deeper inside myself with a little bit of fun and not taking it too seriously, right? And there are serious moments in our lives, of course, and that's not saying that we should belittle any of the practices, but, you know, be curious and laugh at yourself, you know? You don't have to, there's no rules, right? You don't have to do this stuff properly, because there isn't a proper way to do it. You know, just because you don't meditate for an hour a day doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That's me saying that to myself. Or 5 minutes. I've not meditated at all today. So I'm sat here, and you'll probably want to find a comfortable position, and you probably have done already. So well done if you have. I'm sat over a bolster. Shall I show you? Look, there it is. There's my bolster. So I'm sat on there, and I sit kind of on my heels, but I don't like sitting directly on the floor because my body's a bit cronky. So find anything that works for you to kind of find a comfortable position. And let's just spend a little bit of time to arrive. And don't worry, we will do some moving and we'll do some breathing. That's all we need to do, right? It won't just be me talking. So maybe close your eyes. And you can't see my hands, but you can. I'm going to bring my hands so my palms are up. And if it doesn't feel good for you to close your eyes, then just do this. Just soften your gaze down towards the floor, but keep length in the back of your neck. And before you even realize your breath, then just have a little scan of your physical body. And notice how your physical body feels. So on a kind of a gross level, you know, that macro level, you might be just feeling into different parts of the body. It might be the way that your feet just press into the floor. It could be the sensations in your lower legs or your knees, your calves, into your hips and your spine. It could be how your head is kind of rested on top of your spine itself. And then notice if there's any sort of tension in the jaw, in the mouth, shoulders. And then think about the tips of your fingers. So we get a little bit more micro in terms of our focus and just go into those parts of our body that we sometimes miss. And then as we sit here, think about it on a subtle level. So instead of that kind of gross level where we can feel the bones and the muscles, think about a subtle level of your body. And think about your subtle body, so maybe just that layer underneath the physical, and see if you can locate anything there which feels like stress. Could be, right? Some people can kind of just tune into it and they go, it's here. So it could be kind of here in your solar plexus, or it could be here in your heart. And a lot of people feel it in their gut. Some people feel it in their back and their hips, but it could be anywhere. It could be up here in your head. And as you do that, just check in with your breath and notice how your breath feels in your body. And you certainly don't need to change your breath, but just notice how it feels. And maybe inhaling through your nose, maybe exhaling through your nose. And if you find, your mind is busy and it's this kind of practice of just paying attention is a little bit hard for you because the brain's quite active, then just gently keep coming back to the breath. Maybe just notice the rhythm or the shape, the length of your breath. And then when you're ready, just really gently, if your eyes were closed, then just blink your eyes open, do it really softly. And then maybe just have a little stretch out through the arms. Maybe bring the arms above the head and press the arms up towards the ceiling. And feel free just to kind of move in a way that feels good. You might want to round the spine. You might want to just move a little bit side to side. Nice. Good afternoon to you, Irene. If anyone else wants to have a good shout out, then feel welcome. It's always nice to kind of see where all you guys are practicing. And then bring your hands all the way down. Hey, Jackie, nice to have you with me, or with us. And we're going to come back to some breathing. We'll come back to some more pranayama, but I'm conscious that we've been there for just over 10 minutes. So we should move, really, shouldn't we? We'll move a little bit. We don't have to move, but you know, we're going to build all of this in. So I've been sat here for a long time. I've been sat here for about 15 minutes because I was here before the class started. So it takes me a bit of time to kind of get up from this position because my ankles get really tight. So let me do this. Here we go. Nice, beautiful. And that looks good, doesn't it? That looks all right. I'm going to move that forward. And then I'm going to come onto my mat. I'm going to shuffle back here. And when I arrive on all fours, nice and slowly, I'm going to give my legs a good stretch back. Spread out through your fingers and maybe stretch one leg back. And then maybe stretch the other leg back. This is for my benefit more than anyone's. Nice. And then bring the tops of the feet onto the floor. And then just give your feet a little pad out. Maybe press into the toes, pad them out. And move a little bit like this. Nice, beautiful. And then from here, just a little bit of work into our wrists, because we've not done this for a long time. First of all, position your wrists right underneath your shoulders, so you're kind of in this position. Then spread out through your fingers. And see if you can press the base and the knuckle of each finger into your mat. So you really kind of press the hands down. And then just a little bit of movement side to side. Just keep the knees where they are. Remember, you can pad your knees out if that feels good. You can always do these movements kind of from a seated position. So don't think that you've got to be on your knees. And you certainly don't need to kind of, you know, move in exactly the same way that I'm moving. And then from here, maybe just circle the torso just a little bit. So you come forward and back. And there's a little bit of pressure on the wrist, but be really gentle. Keep the spread. Maybe press the middle finger right down into your mat. There's a little bit more intention in the middle finger, and then come back the other way. Keep breathing. And you're thinking about kind of bringing just a little bit of movement in here. Nice. And then slightly bigger movement. With the right hand, lift it up, and then see if you can bring the right fingers back towards your knees. Now, you might be here, you know, where the hand is on the side, the fingers might just point out towards the side of the mat. They might just come around a little bit. But just have a go. But don't strain. There shouldn't be, you know, a sharp sensation here. It should be quite relaxing. And then maybe do the other one. Just be a little bit gentle as you do that. And then again, backwards, forwards, side to side, circles. But keep breathing and notice if you're bringing any tension into your body. Gentle stuff, nice and gentle today, right? We don't have to do a lot to get maximum benefit from our physical practice. And then slowly turn the fingers back, and then we'll come to a seated position. So maybe cross-legged. It doesn't matter which shin you bring in front. Yeah, beautiful. All right, bring your arms out, nice and long and straight, and then make fists, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to stretch your fingers out and then bring the fists in. You just kind of move like this in a rhythmic motion, any motion that feels good for you. And kind of go a little bit quicker. You'll feel this in your forearms a little bit. And then just bring the hands down and give the hands a little shake out. And then bring the hands back up, and then with the right hand, just draw some big circles. Nice. And then come back the other way. And you're probably going to have one wrist that kind of works better than the other. And then do the left. So my left is a little bit cumbersome. I don't want to move in the same way. Just kind of move it out. And then give the hands a good shake out. And then a little bit of movement through the arms. So we don't have to be too formal here. We're just moving the body around. When you're ready, lean back into the hands and then bring your feet out and then just drop your knees from either side. So we're just slowly working into the physical body here. Remember this, I'm doing this pretty quickly, but you can do it nice and slow. But try not to lose your breath. Keep breathing. Don't have to breathe in a super formal way or anything, but just be aware of your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And then when you come back to center, see if you can bring your other shin in front and then have a little move around here. Let's do a twist, because twists can be kind of really opening and calming. So when you inhale, sweep your arms up, and then nice and simple, as you exhale, twist over to the right. And then press your right fingers to the floor. Inhale, find length, and then exhale into your twist. I'm not going to talk. I'm obviously talking now, but let's just spend a little bit of time in silence, finding that perfect length in your spine. And then just take one more round of breath. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Maybe a little bit of moving, and then come to the other side. Twist to the left. And the most important thing is lengthen your spine. It doesn't matter how far you twist into this. Deep inhales, full release, and exhales. Nice. Take one more round of breath. A nice deep, rich inhale. And full release and exhale. Beautiful. And then come back to center. I should say, in this position, if you feel like it's troubling, you can sit up on something, maybe on a blanket or a cushion, or maybe you sit with your back up against a wall. You can do anything like that. This next one will probably be beneficial if you are sat without a wall behind you, but make sure that you feel good in the hips. So we're going to do this. We're going to place the right hand on the heart. We're going to inhale left, we're going to exhale right. So you just swing the body open. But try and match the movement with breath. So inhale left, exhale right. And kind of expand the arms out, but only move at a depth that feels good for you. And certainly only move at a speed that feels good for you. And the breath can be quite powerful, right? It can be what I call intentional. So you use the breath here to kind of really invigorate the body. You're just twisting the torso and moving the energy around a little bit here. And just let the head go with the movement. We'll do a little bit more formal work into the neck in a moment. And then just begin to slow it down. So the arms become a little bit heavier. You don't want to go too low, otherwise you'll bang into your knees. And then come back to center and then place your hands on your heart and just breathe into your heart space. Deep inhales and full release and exhales. Nice. Beautiful. And then come with your eyes open if they were closed. And then I'm going to go back to another seated position over my bolster. So we're going to do a little bit more breath work now. And it's going to be very calming and releasing and de-stressing, hopefully. So sit anywhere that feels good. If you want to sit in a chair, feel free to do that. I'm going to come forward. I've got my blanket here. I've got my bolster. I've got everything I need, everyone. All right, how do we look? I need to go back just a little bit. Nice. Beautiful. So come with a nice tall spine. All right. So we're going to do a little breath pattern. Now this one is superb to do any time of the day. Great to do in the morning. You know, what's your morning routine like? You know, for me, a lot of the time I get up and I walk into the kitchen and I pick my phone up. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to breathe before I do that and leave my phone alone for a good half hour. I sometimes do it, I sometimes don't. We're all work in progress, right? But this is a really nice breath work to do in the mornings because it gets you into your breath straight away. And there's that idea that the cortisol in your body, which is the stress hormone, is a lot higher in the mornings. It's kind of like you feel it more in the mornings. You know, sometimes you get out of bed and you think, oh my word. You feel kind of overwhelmed. You've got so much to do. And it can feel a little bit troublesome. So this is a really nice breath. So we're going to inhale through the nose for 4. We're going to hold the breath for 7. We're going to exhale for 6. All right. So it sounds a little bit complicated, but it's not. Inhale for 4. Pause the breath. And then we exhale for 6. So with a slightly longer exhale, you're going to get into the parasympathetic nervous system. This is kind of really calming the central nervous system. Left side of the brain, kind of like that moon energy and just calming, find a feminine energy. You know, we think words one is more masculine, one more feminine. If you buy into that stuff, if that interests you. But on a physiological level, it's the autonomic nervous system, and the parasympathetic is resting and digesting, and we want to spend a lot more time there. So the longer exhale is going to kind of gently bring you in that place. The breath retention is just about really finding your presence and finding, you know, a calmness when your lungs are full and not panicking. So light, nice and light here. Okay. You can do what you want with the hands. I sometimes do this and bring the thumb and the forefinger together. It creates this little energy. See, it's called Gyan Mudra, and it's the mudra of wisdom and knowledge, right? So we're all looking for a little bit more wisdom, aren't we? I'm not sure about knowledge. Yes, we are. Close the eyes. Find some length in your spine. Think about the space in between your shoulders and see if you can breathe into that space first of all. And then take an inhale for a count of about 4. And then pause your breath for a count of around 7. Now you can count or you can just estimate it. And then exhale for a count of 6. So inhale in for 4. Pause in the breath for 7. Exhale in for 6. Stay really relaxed through the face and the jaw. That's the first thing to tense up. Inhale for 4. Pause the breath. Exhale for 6. So let's all go off in our unique rhythm, but keep that as a guide. Inhale 4, pause for 7, exhale for 6, just for a few minutes. So if you've lost the rhythm, inhale 4, hold for 7, exhale for 6. And then 3 more rounds in your own time. Try not to rush them. If you finish before me, then just come back to a nice steady rhythm of breathing that suits you. Then really gently, just come with your eyes open. Your eyes are closed. Nice. And then just tune in with what you're feeling. Just notice what you're noticing. Maybe the eyes close again, or maybe you just keep the gaze really soft. And your concentration is back to the awareness, and maybe you think about your body, and the gross body, the muscles, the fibers, the bones, bits that you see and feel. And maybe you drop a little bit deeper into what we would call in yoga like the energetic body, the subtle body. These kind of layers. And see if you can tap into kind of that peace. And then again, if your eyes are closed, come with the eyes open. Really nice, everyone. Because you know what, right? You know, when you practice like this, you realize, even if it's just a little glimpse, even if it's just a little chink of light, that peace and that stillness and that love, right? I sound like a proper yogi now, right? That always resides in us. That's always there. It's always there. And it's us that get in the way, and you're like, oh man, it was me getting in the way all the time. It was me. And we get in the way for all lots of good reasons, right? You know, it's stuff that's happened to us and stuff that's probably still happening, right? But underneath all this kind of disturbance and stress and anxiety, there's this pureness, there's this kind of, I think of it, you know, when I was saying like try and locate it in your body, and some people are good at locating it. I don't feel it so much at my heart because I feel in quite a gross way. You know, a lot of this stuff is you know, the last 10 years, it's relatively new to me. But my intuition tells me it's here. This is where my feeling is, right? So when I think about my purity, right, I think of it as in my heart. And I laugh a little bit because we shouldn't take it too seriously, right? And also I think about my old self who would be laughing at me, or probably be really angry at me, going, what are you talking about, mate? All right, let's move a little bit more. So let's do some seated cat-cows. You can be here like I am, or you can be cross-legged, or you can be sat down on a chair. So inhale, lift your heart and roll your shoulders back so the spine is long. And then as you exhale, around your spine and hunch your shoulders up. Inhale forward and then exhale around. So this is the kind of the movement we usually do on all fours, but we can do it from seated. We don't have to move a lot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Really tuck your navel back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more like that. Inhale forward. Exhale round. And the final one. Inhale forward. And then exhale round into your lumbar spine. And then inhale, come back to center. Have a little move around if you need to. Kind of readjust. I'm feeling pretty stable here. So a little bit of movement through the neck. And we'll do 3 different movements. So jaw is soft, that's the most important thing. And I was saying to someone in yoga this morning, I don't like to tell people to smile in yoga because you might not feel like smiling, right? So don't smile if you don't need to. But what I would say is relax your jaw. Okay? Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale to the left. And exhale to the right. And then just carry on like that, really slowly. Chin comes over to the left shoulder. And as you exhale, chin comes over to the right. And your spine is nice and long still. And you are staying nice and relaxed through your jaw. You can close your eyes. You can kind of tap into the smells within the room or the heat, the textures. Nice. And then come back to center. And then just begin to circle your head out. So I always think about the tip of my nose and then raise the tip of my nose up. Scratch on my chin. And then raise the chin. Sorry, drop the chin down. And you make this movement as slow or as fast or as deep or as shallow as feels good for you, but don't push it. Never kind of think you've got to move the neck around like this kind of thing, because it's probably not what we're looking for. We're not looking for deep and we're not looking for fast. We're looking for presence, and we're just inquiring into our body and seeing what you need. And then just come back the other way. Just a couple more complete rotations. Be generous with yourself. And then bring your head back to center. And then that final movement we'll do is we'll just drop our chin down. And maybe have a little rock around through your chin, a little bit of side to side movement. Notice where you feel this. I kind of feel it down this sort of part of my body, sort of behind my ears. And there's residual tension there. And I'm like, oh, there it is. That needs breathing into. That needs releasing. I'm feeling it in my shoulders, right in between my shoulder blades at the moment. So this awareness just allows me to do exactly that. Just pay attention. It's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. All the other stuff can wait. Maybe. Then bring your head back to center. Yes, everyone. Beautiful. Now what I'd like you to do is bring your hands onto your shoulders, and feel free, if you want to keep moving, move. I probably should, because I won't be able to stand in a moment, but I feel relatively comfortable. So as long as you feel comfortable. And then have a look at my elbows. They're kind of in line with my shoulders, aren't they? Don't have to be perfect. Little fingers at the front, thumbs at the back. So take an inhale here, kind of lengthen, lift out through your waist. As you exhale, just bend over to the right. You have to come far. It's a lateral stretch. Lateral. Inhale back to center, and then exhale to the left. Inhale center, and then exhale to the right. So you've got your rhythm. It's a little pendulum. Always inhale to the center, always exhale to the side. And then back to, areas of tension that you might be holding in your body. Simple movement. And I should say, if you've got anything going on with your wrists, or if this really doesn't feel comfortable, do this. Or do this. It's the side to side movement, which is the most important. Or do this. Doesn't matter. You find something that works for you. You find these kind of things in Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga is the yoga that people think is a little bit challenging, because it's a bit odd on the face of it. But when you practice it, you realize that it's probably something that is amazing for the body and the mind and the spirit. Keep working with your breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, down. Couple more either side. Then inhale, come all the way back to center. And as you exhale, just bring your hands down and then just give your fingers a little shake out. And then bring your hands back onto your knees or on your thighs if you're sat like I am. And then inhale your shoulders up. Now it feels like tension. Exhale the shoulders down, let it go. And you're matching the movement with breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down. In and out through the nose. Couple more. Nice. And then give the shoulders a little roll, a little shimmy, whatever feels good. And then bring your left hand, I should say, just down by your hip or down by your knee or down by your foot, wherever it kind of hits the floor. And then inhale back over, right arm to the left. And then just hold this stretch here. Maybe look beyond your right armpit. And then exhale to the other side. Just a little bit more of a stretch down the side of your body. Breathe, don't hold the breath. And then bring that hand down. Nice. And then we're going to move again. So back onto all fours. We're going to come back onto our mats. Let me just move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to join you there in a moment. Is that enough? There we go. Lovely. So back onto your mat. And then this time, we just did it sat. What we'll do is we'll move through some rounds of cat and cow. So think about that spread of the fingers. Think about how your wrists feel. We worked into them earlier in the class. Inhale, drop your belly down, and then lift your head and your heart. As you exhale, push into your hands and really round your spine. That's it. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just working with your rhythm of breath. And then do 3 more complete rounds. And then inhale, come all the way back to center. And then just repeat that move we did right at the start. Well, not right at the start, but like 10 minutes into the class. Stretch your right leg back, press into your right toes. And then we'll do a little side twist here. So see if you can bring your left hand into the center of the mat. Keep that engagement down the right hand side. And then inhale your right arm up. So it's kind of a little bit like an adapted side plank. Really spread out for your fingers. You're going to need that engagement. We've worked into the neck, so if you want to look up towards your fingertips, feel free. And then as you exhale, bring that right hand down. And then take advantage of just stretching out through the left side of your body. And then bring your right hand into the center, and then inhale your left arm up. Look up, look down, that feels good. Really keep that length through the left leg, press into the toes. And then as you exhale, the left hand meets the right. Split your knees nice and wide, and then come into a nice wide knee child's pose. So bring your sit bones back onto your heels. Let your forehead rest down onto the floor. And then just enjoy this sensation of letting go. Think about breathing deeply into your back body. Towards the end of the class, kind of realize your breath and notice how probably your breath has changed. Maybe a nice opportunity again just to scan your body and notice how your physical body feels.
And just take 2 more complete rounds of breath. And you breathe deeply here, right into the upper back. And when you're ready, slowly walk your hands back towards your knees, and then push yourself up, and then flip over onto one hip. Nice. And then come to lie down on your back. We haven't been here, have we? So welcome to lying on your back. You can just shuffle your hips forward, use your hands, lie down, hook your knees in towards your belly. Enjoy the sensation of lying down. Next week we'll do plenty of poses where we're lying down on our mats. Because it's good down here, right? I like it down here. Sometimes we don't get an opportunity to do everything. So next week, remind me. I'll try and remember myself. And then we're just going to bring ourselves into final resting position, Shavasana. So you find a Shavasana that works for you. Maybe go nice and wide with the arms and the legs. And I haven't managed to fall asleep yet in a Shavasana. Not that I'm trying to, but I always have this fear that the video will just keep rolling. And you cut me off. But maybe scan your body one more time. Remember to bend into the knees if that feels good. Or find a Shavasana that works for you. Or maybe you stay seated. And then from here, just begin to bring a little bit of movement back into your body. Maybe drawing the breath in with a little bit more intention, a little bit more depth. And then it's quite nice to kind of move the fingers and the toes, and then maybe the ankles and the wrists. And feel free to yawn or sigh. You can stretch. Ooh, stretch the arms. You can bend the knees back in. Maybe a little bit of movement side to side. Maybe circle the hips. And then when you're ready, just push over to one side, make it really gentle, and then push yourself back up.
really beautiful, everyone. Fantastic work today. And then we'll finish off just by bringing our hands to heart center. Maybe close your eyes just for a couple of rounds of breath, or keep your gaze soft and notice the effects of your practice. Thank yourself for turning up, getting through the class and honoring yourself, and in turn honoring everyone else around you. And with a wholehearted bow, wishing yourself well, wishing everybody else well. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. It's really nice, that was. Hopefully you enjoyed it. No downward facing dogs. Yes. I always say I'm going to teach a class about down dogs, and I very, very rarely manage to do that. So I'm glad that I did. Nice and chilled today. Lots of breath work. Talk to me about breath work. Ask me about breath work. I've always got a lot to say about it. If you have any questions, you're not sure about anything. Next week, as I say, we'll spend quite a lot of time on our backs, and we'll kind of get into our hips and our spine a little bit more. And we'll probably do a little bit more of a yin style where we'll hold the poses for a little bit longer. But in between that, I'm going in my camper van to Wales. Yeah! So I'm going to have fun in Wales for the next few days. Whatever you're doing over this weekend, I hope it's a great one. Thank you to you all. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Jackie. Lovely to have you along today. And thanks to the Virtual Village Hall for always being really generous and kind hosts, and for providing this lovely platform. Not just me, but all of the other amazing content that is put on here. And it's a real credit that it goes out up and down the country. So thank you to those guys, and thank you to everybody that works behind the scenes, because you're all brilliant. All right. Thanks, everyone. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.